Now it is.
Yes. This is one.
So this is our dragger oxylog3000 plus, the new latest model from the oxylog, the dragger device, which you can use it for the transport purpose as an emergency ventilator. Also you can use it as a bedside ventilator if it is needed for a long time you want. And it has a battery backup of, if it is fully charged, it is up to 8 to 9 hours of battery backup is available. And outer part of this ventilator, you have the connections on the one side, all the connections on the this side. So there will be no connections on the other side, as you can see. So as like the other model, older models, so we are going to connect the ventilator circuit here. So there are two smaller tubes which are the flow sensor tubes, which has to be fit into this blue and white port of the ventilator. And there is a bigger tube. So this is the ventilating tube circuit. And also we have to supply the oxygen hose, whether it can be from the wall supply, also it can from the you can provide it through the cylinder as well. So to run the device you have to supply the oxygen, because it is starting from the 40% of oxygen, minimum oxygen is. And also we have the power supply which is connected here. You can keep it charged all the time. So to keep it fully charged at any time of usage, you can keep connected this power supply. So there is the port for the, so you can just pull it out to remove it, as you can see. So this is the port for the power supply. So we are going to connect here. And there is the swappable battery. So this is the swappable battery which you can take it out by sliding it out. And if you have additional battery with you, we can swap it inside to have extra battery backup as well. So then you can fix it back. So right now we are using adult disposable circuit, which has to be fixed, bigger tube to the bigger one and the smaller tubes to the smaller part of the flow sensor tubes. So once you are ready,
This inlet, this outlet is for pediatric and adult.
so this is for the multi-purpose. You can use pediatric adult circuit, and also reusable and disposable circuits can be used with the same port.
So for the same port, we can use adult and pediatric, disposable and reusable.
Reusable, exactly.
Thank you, Engineer Jagan.
So this can be fixed over here. So once it is fixed, you are ready for the connections and assembling. Everything is ready. So end of the circuit, we are going to connect the patient, because the disposable circuit is inbuilt with the expiratory port and the flow sensor. So only thing you are going to do is, so you are here going to connect to the patient, ET tube or the NIV mask, because this device can be used for the non-invasive and invasive purpose. So I will show you how to use. For the non-invasive purpose, you can use these two modes, CPAP and BiPAP. For invasive modes, all the modes can be used as a invasive ventilation. So to switch on the device, we have the power button here. Just you are going to press once. Then the display will show you what type of circuit you are going to use. Since you can use the multi circuits, so the first one is the adult disposable hose, then the adult reusable hose. If you want to use it for the pediatric, we have a pediatric disposable hose, which can be selected by the rotary knob. So here you are going to rotate and select what type of circuit you are using. Right now we are using adult disposable, so confirming. So once you confirm, immediately you can start. You can see that machine started ventilating. So because all the settings, that key parameters are kept outside for your easier configuration. So what we have, the outer parameters here it is. So we have 4 modes available to select different type of modes.
Excuse me, Engineer Jagan. Is it built as a volume controlled, or we can have volume controlled and the pressure controlled?
So we can have volume control and pressure control as well. So there are 2 modes with volume control. One is volume control CMV and volume control SIMV. You have a pressure control BiPAP, which will act similar to pressure control SIMV as well. So this can act as a pressure control during
so the PC BiPAP can work as SIMV,
PCSIMV,
pressure
yes.
control.
Pressure control, exactly.
Okay.
And one more mode is
And
CPAP.
this is what most commonly used in pediatric.
Exactly.
PC BiPAP.
So if you want to use it for the pediatric patient, you prefer to use it pressure control, but it will act as a control ventilation. Not only for the non-invasive ventilation, for invasive also you can use the same mode. So to shift from one mode to another mode, you are going to press any mode and confirm with the knob. It will immediately change the mode what you are using for the specific patient. So once you have selected the mode, you are going to change the parameters underneath. So these are all the key parameters. So there is a tidal volume here and a respiratory rate, and this is pressure maximum limit, that to avoid alarms that you can limit the pressure maximum. Also there is a oxygen percentage that you wanted to use, starting from 40 up to 100 percentage. It can be adjusted with the rotary knob. So once you are done with these key parameters, you can ventilate a patient, and then you can look at the screen. So there are additional some parameters that you can adjust inside the screen with this rotary knob again. So you can rotate the rotary knob to select what parameter that you want to adjust. For example, PEEP. So PEEP always kept as a default 5 centimeter of water. If you want to adjust the PEEP, so always default PEEP is 5. So if you want to adjust the PEEP, you use the knob and confirm. You have to rotate and confirm again to select the parameters. So the same goes for the other parameters as well. If you want to adjust the pressure support, trigger, IA ratio, so you are going to do the same thing. Since we are on volume control SIMV, you can activate pressure support as well. If you are on pressure control BiPAP, so also it will have it can have pressure support as well, but it will deactivate the tidal volume settings, and it will activate only the pressure inspiratory pressure parameter, which is inside the screen. So outside you will have only these three parameters, and the tidal volume parameter will be deactivated. So your tidal volume will be according to the inspiratory pressure that you are going to set up here. So to set up, we are going to do adjust with the rotary knob and confirm and adjust how much tidal volume that you prefer to have for the specific patient, and according to that you are going to set up the pressure. So on the pressure control, how do you monitor the tidal volume is through the values. So you have the values here, which will show you the value on the top of the ventilator. So when you press this value, so you can see other parameters, measured parameters from the patient. So where you will see the tidal volume, which is expired tidal volume, how much it is delivering. So this is what the patient is getting. So if you want to reduce the tidal volume, you have to reduce the inspiratory pressure to achieve the tidal volume that you want on the pressure control. So the similar way, you are going to adjust the other parameters as well. So if you want to do any other settings, then then you can use it for the CPAP as well. If you want to shift to CPAP, you are going to just select the mode and confirm with the knob. You are going to do a setup here with the PEEP, and pressure support is the only parameter that you can do. So other than that, there is oxygen percentage. So also pressure maximum can be activated, but these two parameters will be deactivated. So which is tidal volume, the respiratory rate will not be active, because the CPAP all depends on the patient's values. But you can activate some pressure support if the patient stimulates a spontaneous.
We are on spontaneous CPAP with PEEP 5 and the pressure support 10.
So as you can see, it is showing you have to confirm for the parameters. Unless you confirm, it will not change any parameters. Since we are on CPAP, the patient has to be the one
who breathes, who trigger the machine.
Exactly.
Okay.
So anytime we can shift back to our normal ventilation. So as I mentioned, like these two modes can be used as a non-invasive ventilation. For example, if you want to use it to BiPAP as a non-invasive, just select the mode. You can go to this settings, and you will see in the second screen NIV option, which is off right now. If you make it on, so that machine will know that you are using for the non-invasive ventilation. On the top you will see PC BiPAP NIV, so which means you are activating NIV to compensate for the leakage. So the major problem that you will be facing during NIV is the leakage. So the machine will know that you are using NIV, and leakage compensation will be activated. Also alarm will be reduced for the.
Which knob of these four will be activated in case of non-invasive?
So for PC BiPAP, similar to invasive, only the tidal volume will be deactivated, because you are on the pressure control ventilation.
So these three knobs are activated.
Yeah.
Okay.
So since you have the inspiratory pressure, which is inside the screen, so only the tidal volume will not be active, which will be depend on the inspiratory pressure that you are going to set up. Other than that, respiratory rate will be active, pressure maximum will be active, and FiO2 also will be active. So again, this CPAP mode also can be used as a non-invasive ventilation. So only thing, you have to activate NIV settings in the settings here, NIV on. So if you make it off, that means you can use it for the invasive patient with a CPAP mode. So similar goes for the PC BiPAP. So right now it is not written any NIV, so you can use it for the invasive patient. But all the four modes can be used as a invasive ventilation unless you activate NIV for these two modes, and then you are going to connect the NIV mask with the circuit. Also we have one more mode. If you are activating, the initial setup of ventilation mode will be CMV as a default. So on volume control CMV, when you are activating trigger, so right now as you see trigger is off. If you are activating trigger, it will become assist control. So but we are on CMV, but activating trigger, it will become assist control, which means the spontaneous activity is allowed also, but the parameters, the support will be delivered as the same setting as CMV before. So these are all the settings parameter and settings what you are going to set up inside. Also there is one more option called curves, that it will change the graph that you can see on the screen. Also it will enlarge the screen, the graph on the screen to show you clear as possible. Or you can have the this setup along with the settings as well.
Original screen.
And other than that, we have the alarm silence button here. So this will silence the alarm for 2 minutes. And then there is alarm reset button. So if you have any messages on the screen over here, you can reset by pressing the alarm reset option. And there is a O2, 100% O2. So if you wanted to do a O2 like a suctioning and all, so you can activate 100% O2 and do a suctioning for pre-oxygenation. Also there is inspiratory hold if you want to recruit the lung or if you want to do a X-ray. So these kind of purposes, this inspiratory hold can be used. So these are all the parameters available. And there is settings which I showed already, and also there is alarms. So which usually kept default as minimum and highest possible. But if you want to do it yourself also, it can be adjusted with the rotary knob. So you can set up lower limit and the higher limit as like you want. But right now it is kept minimum and highest possible, so it will avoid alarms during transportations. So then we go back to the screen.